She arrived weakened, on the verge of giving birth. The staff was ready to assist, but what came out left everyone in shock. An unbelievable scene that no one expected to witness. The bitter Chicago wind howled through the empty streets as Emily Carter finished her late-night rounds at the Hopeful Tales shelter. The clock had just struck 11 when an unfamiliar sound caught her attention. A soft whimper coming from the shelter's entrance. Her heart skipped a beat as she approached the door, flashlight in hand. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give it a like. Tell us from which city you're watching us. We'll keep going. There, huddled against the bitter cold, sat a beautiful white dog, her fur as pristine as freshly fallen snow. Emily's trained eye immediately noticed the dog's swollen belly. She was heavily pregnant. Around her neck hung a simple collar with a crumpled note attached. "I'm sorry, take care of her." Emily quickly brought the dog inside, her mind racing with questions. As she led the trembling animal to a warm kennel, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this abandonment than met the eye. The dog's demeanor was peculiar. Despite her condition, she seemed almost purposeful, her intelligent eyes scanning the shelter's interior with unusual intensity. "Let's call you Snow," Emily whispered, stroking the dog's head. "It suits you perfectly." Snow responded with a gentle nuzzle, but her body remained tense, alert, as if carrying not just her unborn pups, but also an invisible burden. The following morning, Snow's behavior grew increasingly bizarre. Instead of resting like most pregnant dogs, she began digging frantically in the shelter's outdoor area. Emily watched, puzzled, as Snow's paws worked with determined precision at a specific spot in the corner of the yard. "What are you looking for, girl?" Emily wondered aloud. Her question was answered when Snow's persistent digging revealed something unexpected, an old weathered collar with barely legible numbers etched into its surface. Emily carefully retrieved it, but before she could examine it more closely, Snow let out a low whine. The labor had begun. The shelter's staff quickly transformed their basic medical room into a makeshift delivery area. As the hours ticked by, Snow brought 6 beautiful white puppies into the world, each one perfectly healthy. Emily felt relief washing over her until the last puppy emerged. Unlike its siblings, this puppy was completely black, standing out dramatically against its mother's white fur. But it wasn't just the puppy's coloring that caught Emily's attention. As she gently cleaned the tiny newcomer, her fingers detected something unusual, a small, hard protrusion near its shoulder blade. Emily's hands trembled as she carefully examined the area. There, just beneath the puppy's skin, she felt something that shouldn't be there. A tiny metallic object, too perfectly shaped to be natural. The discovery sent a chill down her spine, transforming what had seemed like a simple case of abandoned animals into something far more complex. As Snow tenderly nursed her puppies, Emily held the old collar up to the light, studying the faded numbers. They had to mean something. Her instincts, honed by years of working with rescued animals, told her that Snow hadn't ended up at their shelter by accident. Someone had chosen this place this night for a reason. The next morning, Emily arrived early to check on the new family. She found Snow alert and protective, particularly of her black puppy. As Emily approached the kennel, she noticed something that made her blood run cold. Fresh footprints in the snow outside the shelter's windows, stopping right where Snow and her puppies were housed. Someone had been watching them during the night. Emily quickly drew the blinds and stepped back, her mind racing. The mysterious collar, the strange device under the black puppy's skin, the footprints, they were all pieces of a puzzle she hadn't intended to solve. But as she looked at Snow's trusting eyes and her 7 innocent puppies, Emily knew she couldn't ignore what was unfolding at Hopeful Tales shelter. Little did she know her decision to investigate would lead her down a path that would challenge everything she thought she knew about her quiet life at the animal shelter. The mystery of Snow and her unusual black puppy was just beginning to unravel, and Emily Carter found herself at the center of a story far bigger than she could have imagined. Emily spent the morning making calls to her contacts in the local animal welfare community, trying to decode the mysterious numbers on the weathered collar Snow had unearthed. After several dead ends, her old friend Tom, who worked at the city's zoning office, finally provided a lead. "Those numbers," Tom said, his voice crackling over the phone, "they match a property registration for an abandoned industrial warehouse on the outskirts of Chicago." It belongs to Northway Logistics, but they haven't operated there for months. Emily jotted down the address, her hand slightly shaking. As she hung up, a tall man in a dark suit appeared at the shelter's front desk, his presence commanding immediate attention. "I'm here to see the new arrivals," he announced, his tone casual, but his eyes sharp and searching. The white dog and her puppies. Something about his manner set off warning bells in Emily's mind. While the shelter was open to the public, this man's timing and specificity felt too convenient. "I'm sorry," she replied, maintaining a professional smile, "but the mother and puppies aren't available for viewing yet. They need time to rest and bond." The man's facade cracked slightly, a flash of frustration crossing his features. "I represent an interested party," he pressed, reaching into his jacket. "We're willing to make a substantial donation to the shelter." He pulled out a checkbook, but Emily's attention caught on something else, a small logo on his cufflinks that matched the emblem on Snow's original collar. "We have strict protocols," Emily stated firmly, her heart racing. "You can fill out an application, and we'll contact you when the puppies are ready for adoption." The man's eyes narrowed, but he withdrew, leaving behind a business card that bore no company name, just a phone number. As soon as he left, Emily checked on Snow and her puppies. The black puppy seemed restless, emitting soft whimpers that worried her. Sarah, the shelter's veterinary technician, examined the peculiar protrusion beneath its skin more closely. "Emily, this is unlike anything I've seen before," Sarah whispered, her brow furrowed. "It's too symmetrical to be natural, too sophisticated to be a typical tracking chip. Whatever this is, it's high-tech, and definitely not standard veterinary equipment." The mystery deepened when Emily investigated the warehouse address. The abandoned Northway Logistics building stood isolated among overgrown lots, its windows boarded up, but showing signs of recent activity. Tire tracks marked the gravel driveway, and fresh footprints led to a side entrance. Inside, Emily discovered a scene that confirmed her suspicions. One room contained remnants of what appeared to be a makeshift kennel, worn blankets, empty food bowls, and scattered collars identical to the one Snow had been wearing. But it was the partially burned documents in a barrel that truly caught her attention. Among the charred papers, she managed to salvage a fragment bearing the Northway Logistics letterhead. The visible text mentioned secure transport alternatives and organic carriers, along with a series of coordinates and dates. Emily's blood ran cold as she realized the implications. Snow hadn't simply been abandoned, she had been part of something much larger. As she drove back to the shelter, Emily noticed a black SUV following her at a distance. She took several random turns, her suspicions confirmed when the vehicle maintained its pursuit. Using her knowledge of Chicago's backstreets, she managed to lose her tail, but the incident left her shaken. That evening, as Emily checked on Snow's family one last time, she noticed the black puppy's condition had deteriorated. Its small body felt warm to the touch, and its breathing seemed labored. The device under its skin had begun emitting a faint warmth that worried her enormously. Sarah's rushed examination confirmed Emily's fears. "Whatever this device is," she explained, her voice tight with concern, "it's affecting the puppy's health. We need to consider removing it, but without knowing what it is or how it's connected to the surrounding tissue, the procedure could be risky." Emily sat beside Snow's kennel late into the night, watching as the devoted mother tenderly cared for her puppies, particularly attentive to her struggling black infant. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on Emily's shoulders as she realized she had stumbled onto something far more complex than animal welfare. Tomorrow, she would need to make decisions that could affect not only the lives of Snow and her puppies, but potentially expose whatever operation Northway Logistics had been running. As she finally headed home, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, and that time was running out to uncover the truth behind Snow's mysterious appearance at Hopeful Tales shelter. The next morning dawned with a sense of urgency at Hopeful Tales shelter. Emily arrived early, her mind already formulating a plan. She knew they needed to move Snow and her puppies to a safer location, but the logistics of transporting a nursing mother and 7 newborn puppies would be challenging. Sarah, the veterinary technician, had spent the night monitoring the black puppy's condition. "The good news is he's stabilized," she reported, dark circles under her eyes betraying her lack of sleep. But that device, it's definitely active. I detected some kind of signal emission when I scanned it with our microchip reader. Emily's friend Angela ran a private animal sanctuary 2 hours outside of Chicago. It was secluded, well-staffed, and most importantly had top-notch security systems, a necessity given the valuable show dogs they sometimes housed. After a careful discussion about the situation, Angela agreed to take Snow's family. "We'll need to be careful about this," Emily told Sarah as they prepared for the transfer. "No paperwork, no digital trail. We can't risk anyone tracking where they're going." She couldn't shake the memory of the mysterious man in the suit, his eyes too knowing, his manner too calculated. As they worked, Emily noticed Snow's peculiar behavior. The white dog seemed to understand something was happening, her intelligent eyes following their every move. When they brought in the special transportation kennels, Snow immediately began guiding her puppies toward them, as if she knew they needed to leave. The black puppy, though still weak, showed signs of improvement away from the warehouse's vicinity. Emily couldn't help but wonder if distance affected whatever signal the device was transmitting. She documented everything meticulously, photographing the device's location beneath the puppy's skin and recording all observed symptoms. Just as they finished preparing for transport, the shelter's front desk phone rang. Emily's heart nearly stopped when she recognized the voice. It was the man in the suit. "I'm calling about those puppies," he said smoothly. "We've learned that one of them might have some special medical needs. We have specialists who can help." Emily kept her voice steady despite her racing pulse. "As I mentioned yesterday, we follow strict protocols. The puppies are currently under veterinary care." She could hear muffled voices in the background of the call, speaking in urgent tones. "Ms. Carter," the man's voice hardened slightly, "I don't think you understand the significance of this situation. We're prepared to make it worth your while to expedite the process." The threat beneath the offer was barely veiled. "I'll have our adoption coordinator contact you when the puppies are ready," Emily responded professionally, then ended the call. Her hands were shaking as she dialed Angela's number. "We need to move them now." They planned the transfer carefully. Sarah would drive the shelter's regular transport van as a decoy, while Emily would take Snow and her puppies in her personal vehicle, a less obvious choice. They chose a route that avoided major highways and surveillance cameras, using back roads that wound through the countryside. As they prepared to leave, Emily noticed Snow's behavior changing again. The white dog became agitated, her ears pricking up at something only she could hear. Moments later, they heard vehicles pulling into the shelter's parking lot. Through the window, Emily spotted 3 black SUVs, similar to the one that had followed her the previous day. Men in suits emerged, including the one who had visited the shelter. They moved with purpose, spreading out to cover all exits. "Back door now," Emily whispered to Sarah. They quickly but carefully moved the kennels containing Snow and her puppies through the shelter's rear corridor. Emily's heart pounded as she heard the front door chime, followed by authoritative voices in the reception area. They managed to load the precious cargo into Emily's car, just as they heard footsteps approaching the back of the building. Snow, usually so vocal, remained eerily quiet, as if understanding the need for silence. The black puppy, nestled against its mother, hadn't made a sound either. As Emily prepared to start the engine, she saw movement in her rearview mirror. More vehicles were approaching from the back alley. They were running out of options and time was not on their side. But Emily had one last trick up her sleeve, a route through the old industrial district that few people knew about. The next few moments would determine everything. Emily looked at Snow and her puppies, then at Sarah's worried face, knowing that whatever happened next would change all their lives forever. The weight of protecting these innocent animals and uncovering the truth about their connection to Northway Logistics rested squarely on her shoulders. Emily's heart raced as she navigated through the narrow alleyways of Chicago's industrial district. Her years of rescue work had taught her every back route and hidden passage in this part of the city. In the rear-view mirror, she could see the black SUVs attempting to follow, their larger frames struggling to maneuver through the tight spaces. "Hang on, everyone," she whispered, glancing at the precious cargo in her back seat. Snow remained remarkably calm, her white fur glowing in the early morning light as she nestled protectively around her puppies. The black puppy, though still weak, seemed more alert than before, as if drawing strength from their movement away from danger. Sarah's voice crackled through the hands-free device. "Emily, I've successfully led 2 of their vehicles toward the highway. They took the bait." The decoy plan was working. Sarah's van, carrying empty crates and old blankets, had attracted part of their pursuit. Emily turned down an unmarked road that led through an abandoned railway yard. The path was barely visible, overgrown with weeds and strewn with debris, but she knew it would lead them to temporary safety. The pursuing vehicles couldn't follow without risking damage to their expensive cars. As they emerged on the other side of the railway yard, Emily's phone buzzed with a text from Angela. "Safe house ready, change location to Plan B. Check your email for coordinates." They had anticipated the possibility of their original route being compromised and had prepared alternatives. The new destination was a small veterinary clinic owned by Dr. James Chen, a retired military veterinarian who now specialized in exotic pets. His facility had state-of-the-art security and, more importantly, a reputation for absolute discretion. He had helped the sanctuary before with sensitive cases involving valuable show dogs and rare breeds. During the drive, Emily noticed something peculiar. The further they got from the city, the more the black puppy's condition seemed to improve. Its breathing became more regular, and it even began to show interest in nursing. Snow, too, appeared more relaxed, though she remained vigilant, her ears perking up at every unusual sound. "We're almost there," Emily reassured her passengers as they turned onto a private road shrouded by thick trees. Dr. Chen's clinic looked like her ordinary country veterinary practice, but Emily knew it housed sophisticated medical equipment and security systems that would rival many research facilities. Dr. Chen was waiting at the service entrance, his face serious but kind. "Bring them in quickly," he instructed, helping Emily unload the precious cargo. "I've prepared a secure room in the back." As they moved the family inside, he explained that the room was equipped with signal-blocking technology, a precaution he'd installed for his work with tracking devices in endangered species. Once settled in the secure room, Dr. Chen conducted a thorough examination of all the puppies, paying special attention to the black one. His expression grew increasingly intrigued as he studied the readings from his scanning equipment. "Emily, this device, it's unlike anything I've encountered in veterinary medicine," he said, showing her the scanner's display. "The technology is incredibly sophisticated. It appears to be not just a tracking device, but something capable of collecting and transmitting data." Snow watched the examination intently, her intelligent eyes following every movement. When Dr. Chen reached for the black puppy, she didn't growl or show aggression. Instead, she gently nosed his hand as if giving permission while maintaining her protective vigilance. "There's something else," Dr. Chen added, pointing to his screen. "The device seems to be monitoring the puppy's vital signs and something else, something I can't quite identify. It's almost as if it's collecting information about its surroundings through the puppy's sensory inputs." Emily's mind raced with the implications. Why would anyone put such advanced technology in a newborn puppy? What kind of information were they trying to gather? The answers seemed to lie within the mysterious operations of Northway Logistics, but pursuing those answers would mean putting herself, and possibly the animals, at even greater risk. As if reading her thoughts, Dr. Chen placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "They're safe here for now," he said, "but we need to understand what we're dealing with. I have some contacts in biomedical research who might be able to help us understand this technology. Discreetly, of course." Emily nodded, watching as Snow tenderly groomed her black puppy. The tiny creature had already been through so much in its short life, yet here it was, fighting to survive, protected by its mother's unwavering devotion. Whatever secrets this little family carried, Emily was determined to ensure their safety while unraveling the mystery that had brought them into her life. Dr. Chen's clinic buzzed with quiet activity as the morning sun climbed higher in the sky. In the secure room, Emily sat cross-legged on the floor, watching Snow and her puppies settle into their temporary haven. The black puppy's improvement in the signal-blocked environment was remarkable. It now played and nursed alongside its siblings with newfound energy. "Emily," Dr. Chen called softly from the doorway. "There's something you need to see." He led her to his office where multiple screens displayed various readings and charts. "My friend at the Biomedical Research Center analyzed the data we collected from the device. It's not just gathering information, it's processing it in real time. He pointed to a complex wave pattern on one of the screens. See these fluctuations? They correspond perfectly with the puppy's neural activity. It's as if the device is creating a bridge between the puppy's sensory experiences and something else. The technology is years ahead of anything currently available to the public. Emily's mind flashed back to the burned documents she'd found at the Northway Logistics warehouse. They mentioned organic carriers in their papers, she mused. Could they have been using animals to transport information? But what kind of information would require such an elaborate system? Their discussion was interrupted by Sarah's arrival. She had successfully thrown off their pursuers and made it to the clinic through a different route. "You need to see this," she said, pulling out her tablet. The local news website displayed a press release from Northway Logistics announcing a breakthrough in bio-integrated information systems. "They're going public with some version of this technology," Sarah explained. "But look at the date. They're planning to announce it next month. Whatever Snow and her puppy are carrying must be related to this announcement." Dr. Chen's face grew serious. That explains the urgency of their pursuit. If this device represents a prototype of their technology, any leak could jeopardize their announcement. But using animals as test subjects without proper oversight, that's highly unethical. As they talked, Emily noticed Snow's behavior changing. The white dog had become alert, her ears pricked forward, nose twitching. Moments later, they heard the distant sound of vehicles on the clinic's access road. Dr. Chen quickly checked his security feeds. 2 unmarked vans, he reported, approaching from the north entrance. "They're maintaining normal speed, trying to appear casual." He pressed a button, and metal shutters quietly descended over the clinic's windows. "But they won't get past our security system. This facility was designed to protect valuable exotic animals from potential theft." Emily's phone buzzed with a message from Angela at the sanctuary. "Found something interesting about Northway," it read. "Their CEO suddenly resigned 3 months ago. No public statement, but rumors of ethical concerns over new research direction." The pieces were starting to fit together, but the full picture remained elusive. In the secure room, Snow had gathered her puppies closer, as if sensing the tension in the air. The black puppy, despite its improved condition, stayed especially close to its mother. Dr. Chen activated additional security measures as the vans parked in the clinic's lot. "We have time," he assured Emily. "The security system will delay any visitors with a series of protocols. Meanwhile, I have another exit route prepared, one that's not on any blueprints." Emily watched the security feed as men in business suits emerged from the vans, their movements precise and coordinated. They carried briefcases and what appeared to be scanning equipment. One of them, the same man from the shelter, spoke quietly into a phone. "Whatever information that device carries," Emily said, "it must be incredibly valuable for them to go to such lengths." She turned to Dr. Chen. "We need to understand exactly what we're dealing with before we make our next move." The retired military veterinarian nodded, his expression thoughtful. "I have an old colleague who specializes in experimental veterinary technology. She might be able to help us decode this device without risking the puppy's health. But reaching her will be tricky. She works at a private research facility in Wisconsin." Sarah looked up from her tablet, where she'd been monitoring local traffic cameras. "They've got more vehicles positioned on nearby roads," she reported. "They're trying to box us in gradually, probably hoping to avoid attracting attention." Snow's soft whine drew their attention back to the secure room. The white dog stood protectively over her black puppy, who had begun to emit a faint, high-pitched sound, almost too high to hear. Dr. Chen's equipment immediately registered a spike in signal activity from the device. The high-pitched sound from the black puppy grew stronger, causing Dr. Chen's equipment to light up with activity. "This is extraordinary," he muttered, adjusting his instruments. "The device isn't just transmitting data, it's responding to some kind of external signal." Emily watched as Snow gently nudged her black puppy behind the other siblings, as if trying to shield it from whatever was triggering the device. The white dog's protective instincts seemed to go beyond normal maternal behavior. There was an almost human-like intentionality to her actions. "Look at this," Dr. Chen called, pointing to his monitor. "The signal pattern, it's not random, it's encrypted, yes, but there's a clear structure to it. This isn't just a tracking device, it's some kind of sophisticated data storage and transmission system." Sarah, who had been monitoring the security feeds, suddenly straightened. The men outside, they're setting up some kind of equipment. It looks like they're trying to establish a stronger signal to communicate with the device. Dr. Chen's face grew concerned as he studied the readings. Whatever they're doing is affecting the puppy's vital signs. Heart rate, blood pressure, neural activity, everything's elevating. He turned to Emily. We need to move them to the basement level. The signal blocking is stronger there. As they carefully transferred Snow and her puppies to the lower level, Emily's phone buzzed with a message from Angela. Found more about Northway. They've been buying up small tech companies specializing in bioelectric interfaces. Huge investments in something called organic data integration. The basement facility was a stark contrast to the clinic above. Cutting-edge medical equipment lined the walls, and thick concrete provided natural signal dampening. As soon as they entered, the black puppy's distress noticeably decreased. Emily, Doctor, Chen said quietly, reviewing data on his tablet. I think I understand what we're dealing with. This device, it's not just storing data. It's using the puppy's own nervous system as part of its processing matrix. That's why it's so small, so sophisticated. They've found a way to integrate technology with living tissue. The implications were staggering. Snow hadn't just been carrying puppies. She had been carrying what could be one of the most significant technological breakthroughs in recent history. But the ethical implications of using animals for such experiments were deeply troubling. A soft chime from the security system interrupted their thoughts. They're trying to override the clinic's security protocols, Sarah reported, her fingers flying over the keyboard. They're good, but our systems are better. Still, we should assume they'll find a way in eventually. Dr. Chen moved to a hidden panel in the wall, revealing a sophisticated communications setup. It's time to contact my colleague in Wisconsin. If anyone can help us understand this technology and maybe find a way to safely deactivate it, it's her. As he worked to establish a secure connection, Emily noticed Snow's behavior changing again. The white dog had begun pawing at the floor in a familiar way, the same determined digging she had done at the shelter. Acting on instinct, Emily joined her, helping to move aside a section of loose flooring. There, in a small cavity beneath the floor, they found something unexpected, a small metal case, its surface covered in the same logo they had seen at the Northway warehouse. Dr. Chen examined it carefully, his expression grave. This clinic. Before I bought it, it was owned by a research company, he explained, a subsidiary of Northway Logistics. Snow somehow knew it was here. The question is, how? Inside the case, they found technical documents and a small device that looked similar to the one implanted in the black puppy. As Dr. Chen examined them, his eyes widened. These are early prototypes, he said. They've been working on this technology for years, refining it, making it smaller, more sophisticated. But there's something else here, something about the selection of specific animals for the program. Sarah looked up from the security feed. We've got movement outside. They're preparing to make their move. The sounds of vehicles repositioning could be heard even through the thick basement walls. Emily looked at Snow, who sat calmly watching them, her black puppy nestled safely among its siblings. The white dog's intelligent eyes seemed to hold secrets they were only beginning to understand. Whatever connection Snow had to Northway's experiments, it went far deeper than anyone had imagined. Dr. Chen spread the documents from the metal case across his desk, his experienced eyes scanning the technical diagrams and notes. This is remarkable, he said, pointing to a series of detailed sketches. They weren't just randomly selecting animals for their experiments. They were specifically choosing ones with certain genetic markers. Emily leaned closer, studying the complex diagrams. What kind of markers? She asked, glancing at Snow, who sat attentively nearby, her white fur almost glowing under the basement's fluorescent lights. According to these notes, they discovered that certain animals possess an unusual capacity for neural plasticity. Their brains can form new connections more easily than others. Snow wasn't just a random street dog they picked up. She was specifically chosen for their program. Sarah, still monitoring the security feeds, called out, "They're setting up some kind of perimeter around the clinic. I count at least 8 people now, all with sophisticated equipment." She paused, squinting at her screen. "Wait, something's different about their behavior. They seem more cautious now, less aggressive." "Doctor." Chen's secure communication system suddenly lit up with an incoming message. His colleague from Wisconsin, Dr. Patricia Morrison, appeared on the screen, her face serious. "James, I've reviewed the data you sent. This is bigger than you realize. That device isn't just storing information, it's part of a distributed network. Each animal in their program carries a piece of a larger whole." The implications hit Emily like a physical force. So Snow and her puppy, they're not just carrying random data. They're part of something bigger. She watched as the black puppy nestled closer to its mother, its earlier distress completely gone in the signal-blocked environment. Dr. Morrison nodded on the screen. "Exactly. Think of it like a living hard drive, but more sophisticated. Each animal carries a fragment of information, but it's the network between them that makes the system work. The real breakthrough isn't the storage, it's the transmission method. They found a way to use natural neural pathways as communication channels. That explains why Snow led us to those other clues," Emily realized. She's not just carrying information, she's actively connected to the network somehow. She knew where to find that case because the information was already in the system. A soft whine from Snow drew their attention. The white dog had moved to the basement door, her posture alert but not alarmed. Moments later, they heard footsteps in the clinic above, careful, measured steps of people trying to move quietly. "They've breached the outer security," Sarah whispered, but Dr. Chen remained surprisingly calm. He pressed a series of buttons on his console, and suddenly the basement was filled with a low, barely audible hum. "Counter frequency," he explained. "It should disrupt any tracking equipment they're using. But more importantly," he pointed to his monitors, "it's allowing us to pick up something extraordinary." On the screens, complex patterns of neural activity appeared, not just from the black puppy's implant, but from Snow herself. The white dog's brain was lighting up with activity and patterns that exactly matched the encrypted data signatures they detected earlier. "She's not just a carrier," Dr. Morrison said through the video link, her voice filled with wonder. "She's a key part of their entire system. The puppies, especially the black one, they're next-generation prototypes designed to improve upon what they started with Snow." Emily knelt beside Snow, gently stroking her soft fur. The dog looked back at her with those intelligent eyes, and for the first time, Emily truly understood what she was seeing. Not just animal intelligence, but something enhanced, evolved through careful scientific selection and technological integration. The sounds from above grew closer, but Dr. Chen seemed unconcerned. "They won't risk damaging their own technology," he said confidently. "And now that we understand what we're dealing with, we have leverage. They need Snow and her puppies intact, especially that black puppy. Without them, their entire network could be compromised." Sarah's voice cut through the tension. "New vehicles arriving, but these are different. Government plates." She looked up from her monitor, her expression a mix of relief and concern. "I think our situation just got more complicated." Dr. Morrison leaned forward on the video screen. "James, there's something else you need to know about this technology. The reason they chose a pregnant dog wasn't just about creating new carriers. It's about something they discovered about hereditary neural patterns, something that could change everything we know about information storage and transmission." The tension in Dr. Chen's basement facility was palpable as Dr. Morrison continued her explanation through the video link. The hereditary neural patterns they discovered. They found that certain information could be passed from mother to offspring through more than just DNA. Snow's puppies inherited not just her genetic traits, but also her enhanced neural architecture. Emily watched as Snow tenderly nuzzled her black puppy, the gesture taking on new meaning with this revelation. "So the black puppy isn't just carrying a newer version of the device," she said slowly. "It's actually born with an enhanced capacity to interface with it?" "Precisely," Dr. Morrison nodded. "And that's why this particular puppy is so crucial to their research. Its unusual coloring isn't just a coincidence. It's a physical manifestation of the genetic markers they've been selecting for." The sound of footsteps above had ceased, replaced by what seemed to be an organized sweep of the building. Sarah's fingers flew across her keyboard as she monitored multiple security feeds. "The government agents are conducting a room-by-room search, but they're being careful. They're not with Northway's team, they're keeping them contained in the parking lot." Dr. Chen moved to a sophisticated control panel, making subtle adjustments. "We need to be strategic about this," he said, his military background evident in his calm efficiency. "These government agents might be here to help, but we need to ensure Snow and her puppies don't just become someone else's research subjects." The black puppy suddenly perked up, its tiny ears twitching. Moments later, a new pattern appeared on Dr. Chen's monitors, a complex sequence of neural signals, unlike anything they'd seen before. Snow too became alert, but showed no signs of distress. "Fascinating," Dr. Morrison breathed, studying the data streaming across her screen. "They're receiving some kind of transmission, but it's not from Northway's equipment. This is different, more refined, almost like a key unlocking a door." As if in response to an unheard command, Snow began to paw gently at another section of the basement floor. Emily helped her investigate, revealing another hidden compartment, this one containing a small, elegant device that looked nothing like Northway's technology. Dr. Chen's eyes widened in recognition. "This is government technology," he said quietly. "Top-secret research into animal-computer interfaces. I worked on the early stages of this program before retiring. But this is years ahead of what we were developing." The device activated as soon as they retrieved it, responding to some signal from Snow or her puppy. A holographic display flickered to life, showing streams of data that Dr. Morrison quickly began to analyze. "This changes everything," she said, her voice filled with excitement. "This isn't just about storing and transmitting data anymore. They've created a genuine bridge between human technology and animal consciousness. Snow isn't just carrying information. She's actively processing and interpreting it." Sarah's urgent voice cut through their discussion. "Someone's approaching the basement door, but they're alone and—" She paused, checking another monitor. "They're using a very specific access code." Dr. Chen straightened, a glimmer of recognition in his eyes. "Let them in," he said confidently. "I know who it is." The heavy door opened to reveal a woman in a crisp suit, her silver hair pulled back in a neat bun. She carried herself with quiet authority, and both Snow and her puppies remained perfectly calm at her entrance. "Dr. Chen," she nodded to him, then turned to Emily with a warm smile. "Ms. Carter, I'm Dr. Eleanor Thompson. I've been following your work with Snow very closely. In fact, we've been monitoring this situation since the moment Snow chose your shelter." Emily blinked in surprise. "Chose the shelter? You mean—" "Nothing about Snow's appearance at Hopeful Tales was random," Dr. Thompson explained. "She was part of a carefully orchestrated plan, not by Northway but by us. We've been working to expose their unethical research practices for months. Snow isn't just carrying their technology. She's carrying the evidence we need to shut down their entire operation." The black puppy wobbled over to Dr. Thompson, who gently scooped it up with practiced ease. The tiny creature seemed completely at ease in her arms, as if recognizing an old friend. Snow watched calmly, her intelligent eyes holding what now seemed to be a knowing look. Dr. Thompson settled into a chair in the basement facility, the black puppy still contentedly nestled in her arms. "We've been monitoring Northway's research for the past year," she explained. "When we discovered the extent of their experiments with animal neural networks, we knew we needed to act, but carefully." Emily sat next to Snow, who seemed completely at ease with these new developments. "So Snow was working with you all along?" she asked, scratching behind the white dog's ears. The intelligence in Snow's eyes now seemed less mysterious and more purposeful. "In a manner of speaking," Dr. Thompson nodded. "Snow was originally part of Northway's program, but she demonstrated an unprecedented level of neural adaptation. She didn't just carry their technology, she learned to control it. When she sensed our counter-signals, she chose to cooperate with us." Dr. Chen studied the readings from the government device they'd discovered. "The neural interface you've developed, it's remarkable, non-invasive, ethically implemented, and far more sophisticated than Northway's crude implants. That's because we worked with the animal's natural abilities instead of trying to force them to adapt to our technology," Dr. Thompson explained. "Snow helped us understand that animals already possess incredible information processing capabilities. We just needed to learn how to communicate with them properly." Sarah, still monitoring the security feeds, reported that the Northway team had been fully contained by government agents. They're securing all of their equipment, she added, and they look resigned. Like they know it's over. It is over, Dr. Thompson confirmed. The evidence Snow has helped us gather proves that Northway violated dozens of ethical guidelines and research protocols. But more importantly, she's helped us understand the true potential of animal-human technological cooperation. The black puppy stirred in Dr. Thompson's arms, letting out a tiny yawn. The device beneath its skin no longer seemed to be causing any discomfort. This little one, Dr. Thompson smiled, represents something Northway never anticipated. The next generation of Snow's enhanced neural capabilities, but completely natural, no artificial implants needed. Dr. Morrison, still connected via video link, leaned forward with interest. Are you saying the puppy has inherited Snow's ability to interface with technology naturally, without any artificial augmentation? Exactly, Dr. Thompson replied. The device they implanted is actually redundant. The puppy's natural abilities far exceed its capabilities. That's what makes Northway's actions even more unethical. They were causing unnecessary harm in an attempt to control something that develops best on its own. Emily watched as Snow gently recalled her black puppy, who wobbled back to join its siblings. What happens now? She asked. To Snow and her puppies. Dr. Thompson's expression softened. That's actually why I'm here. We'd like to offer you a position, Ms. Carter. Your work at the shelter, your instincts about Snow, your dedication to protecting these animals, they've proven you're exactly the kind of person we need. What kind of position? Emily asked, her heart racing with unexpected possibility. We're establishing a new division focused on ethical animal technology partnerships. Not for corporate profit or military applications, but for genuine interspecies cooperation. Search and rescue, environmental protection, wildlife conservation, the possibilities are endless. Snow placed her paw on Emily's knee, those intelligent eyes seeming to encourage her. The white dog had chosen the shelter for a reason, after all. Perhaps she had chosen Emily, too. Doctor. Chen's monitoring equipment suddenly displayed a new pattern of neural activity, not from Snow or her black puppy, but from all the puppies simultaneously. Their young minds were already showing signs of the same enhanced capabilities as their mother. They're networked, Dr. Morrison observed with amazement. They're actually sharing information between themselves naturally, without any technological assistance. This could revolutionize our understanding of animal cognition. Dr. Thompson nodded. And that's just the beginning. Snow and her puppies are showing us that the future of technology isn't about control or exploitation. It's about partnership and mutual understanding. We just need the right people to help guide that future. The next few hours in Dr. Chen's basement facility transformed into a flurry of activity as Dr. Thompson's team began setting up sophisticated monitoring equipment. Emily watched in amazement as Snow and her puppies underwent gentle, non-invasive examinations that revealed more about their extraordinary abilities. Look at this, Dr. Morrison commented through the video link, analyzing the latest data. The neural patterns between Snow and her puppies, they're not just communicating, they're creating something like a living quantum network. Each puppy adds a new layer of complexity to the system. Emily sat cross-legged on the floor, the black puppy playfully climbing into her lap. The tiny creature's natural warmth and energy showed no signs of the earlier distress caused by Northway's crude implant. How soon can we safely remove their device? She asked, gently stroking the puppy's soft fur. Dr. Thompson consulted with a medical specialist on her team. We can do it today, right here, Doctor. Chen's facility is more than equipped, and we have the best veterinary surgeons standing by. The procedure is minimally invasive, and with their natural healing abilities, recovery should be quick. Snow moved closer to Emily, resting her head on Emily's knee, as if giving approval to the plan. The white dog's remarkable journey from test subject to partner in a groundbreaking project had only strengthened her trust in the humans who had protected her family. Ms. Carter, Dr. Thompson said, pulling up some documents on her tablet, I'd like to discuss more details about the position we're offering you. The facility we're establishing combines the best elements of an animal sanctuary with a research center. Your role would be crucial in ensuring the ethical treatment and well-being of all our animal partners. As they talked, Dr. Chen's security system registered a new arrival, Angela from the sanctuary, finally able to join them now that the situation had stabilized. She entered the basement with a look of wonder, taking in the advanced equipment and the comfortable space created for Snow's family. "Emily," she exclaimed, "you won't believe what I found in our background check on Northway. Their entire research program was built on stolen technology. Innovations originally developed for wildlife conservation and animal welfare. They corrupted its purpose for corporate gain." Dr. Thompson nodded grimly. "That's correct. The original technology was designed to help us understand and protect endangered species. Northway saw its potential for data storage and transmission, but their approach was fundamentally flawed. They tried to force the technology to conform to their needs instead of working in harmony with the animal's natural abilities." The black puppy suddenly perked up, its siblings mirroring the movement in perfect synchronization. The monitoring equipment recorded a surge of coordinated neural activity across all the puppies. Snow watched calmly, her own neural patterns showing she was somehow guiding and stabilizing the puppy's network. "Extraordinary," Dr. Morrison breathed, studying the readings. "They're not just sharing information, they're processing and refining it. The puppies are actually improving upon their mother's capabilities, creating new pathways for communication and understanding." Emily's phone buzzed with a message from Sarah, who had gone upstairs to coordinate with the government team. The Northway executives were being escorted from the property, their equipment confiscated. More importantly, their research data was being secured as evidence of their ethical violations. "We're already receiving adoption applications for the other puppies," Angela mentioned, scrolling through her tablet. "Obviously, we'll need to be very selective about their new homes." She paused, looking meaningfully at Emily. "Though I have a feeling the black one has already found its family." The puppy in Emily's lap yawned and snuggled closer, as if confirming Angela's observation. Dr. Thompson smiled at the scene. "That would be perfect, actually. Part of our new program involves creating a network of trained handlers who can help develop and protect these extraordinary animals. The bond you've formed with Snow and her puppy makes you an ideal candidate." Snow's tail wagged gently as she watched her black puppy bonding with Emily. The white dog's intelligent eyes held a contentment that went beyond mere animal satisfaction. She seemed to understand that her family's future was secure, their abilities would be used for good, and the humans around them could be trusted. 3 weeks later, Emily stood in the newly established Interspecies Communication Center, watching Snow and her puppies explore their custom-designed living space. The facility, built with input from both animal behaviorists and technology experts, represented everything Northway's research should have been: ethical, compassionate, and focused on partnership rather than exploitation. "The puppy's development is exceeding all our expectations," Dr. Thompson said, reviewing the latest data on her tablet. "Their natural abilities are manifesting earlier than we anticipated, and their group neural network is showing patterns we've never seen before." The black puppy, now officially named Shadow, bounded over to Emily with characteristic enthusiasm. The tiny surgical scar from the implant removal had already faded, barely visible beneath his glossy fur. Emily scooped him up, marveling at how quickly he had recovered and how strong their bond had grown. "Snow's been an incredible teacher," Emily observed, watching the white dog guide her other puppies through what appeared to be a coordinated mental exercise. The monitoring equipment recorded complex neural patterns as the family engaged in their mysterious communication. Dr. Morrison, who had relocated to the facility to oversee the research program, approached with excitement. "We've just made a breakthrough in understanding their communication network," she announced. "It appears they're not just sharing information, they're creating new ways to process and store it. Each puppy brings a unique perspective that enhances the whole system." The facility itself was a marvel of modern design, featuring spacious indoor and outdoor areas where the dogs could practice their abilities naturally. Special sensors built into the walls could detect and record their neural activities without any invasive equipment, allowing the research team to learn from them without interference. "The adoption interviews for the other puppies are going well," Angela reported, joining them with her ever-present tablet. "We've identified several families with backgrounds in animal welfare and technology ethics. Each puppy will go to a home that can support their development while ensuring they stay connected to the network." Snow padded over to the window, gazing out at the facility's sprawling grounds. The location had been carefully chosen, remote enough for security but connected to a network of animal sanctuaries and research centers dedicated to ethical technological advancement. "Watch this," Dr. Thompson said softly, pulling up a visualization of the puppy's neural network. As they observed, beautiful patterns of light and color represented the complex web of communication flowing between Snow and her offspring. They're creating something unprecedented, a living library of shared experiences and knowledge. Emily's new role as Chief Animal Welfare Officer gave her the perfect balance of hands-on care and program development. She worked closely with Dr. Thompson's team to ensure that every aspect of the research respected the animal's natural behaviors and preferences. The most remarkable thing, Dr. Morrison noted, is how they're teaching us. Every day they show us new possibilities for harmony between technology and nature. Snow's choice to trust us, to work with us instead of for us, has opened up an entirely new field of study. Shadow squirmed in Emily's arms, eager to rejoin his siblings in their mysterious mental exercises. As she set him down, she noticed Snow watching her with those knowing eyes. The white dog had chosen well when she selected Hopeful Tale's shelter that winter night. She had found not just a safe haven, but a partner in creating something revolutionary. The facility's advanced security system performed its routine scan, its technology now enhanced by insights gained from studying Snow's natural abilities. The integration of animal intelligence with human innovation had created protocols far more sophisticated than anything Northway had envisioned. "Next week we'll begin the first official trials of the Wildlife Conservation Program," Dr. Thompson announced. "Snow and Shadow will help us establish communication networks with wild animal populations, starting with several wolf packs in protected territories. Their ability to bridge the gap between species could revolutionize how we approach environmental protection." The morning sun cast long shadows across the Interspecies Communication Center's training grounds as Emily prepared for the first official wildlife conservation trial. Snow and Shadow worked together with remarkable synchronization, their enhanced neural capabilities now focused on a new and exciting purpose. "The satellite imagery shows the wolf pack about 3 miles from our observation point," Dr. Morrison reported, adjusting the sophisticated monitoring equipment. "All our sensors are calibrated to detect any neural activity similar to Snow's network." Emily watched as Snow gently guided Shadow through what seemed to be a mental preparation exercise. The black puppy, though still young, had developed an extraordinary ability to extend the range of their neural network. Together, mother and son could create communication bridges that spanned incredible distances. "Remember," Dr. Thompson cautioned, reviewing the final safety protocols, "this is just an observation trial. We want to see if Snow and Shadow can establish contact with wild animals without any direct interaction. Their safety is our primary concern." The whole facility buzzed with excited anticipation. This project represented the first practical application of their research, a chance to prove that the connection between technology and nature could serve a greater purpose. Teams of scientists, veterinarians, and wildlife experts had gathered to witness the attempt. "Neural activity is increasing," Dr. Morrison announced, studying the readings. "Snow and Shadow are extending their network. Wait, something unexpected is happening." The monitors displayed a sudden surge of coordinated brainwave patterns. Snow stood alert, her white fur gleaming in the morning light while Shadow pressed close to her side. Their eyes focused on the distant tree line with intense concentration. The monitoring equipment recorded unprecedented levels of neural synchronization between them. "They're not just reaching out to the wolf pack," Dr. Morrison breathed, her eyes wide with amazement. "They're creating a completely new type of communication channel. Look at these patterns. They're adapting their neural network to match the wild animal's natural frequencies." Emily moved closer to Snow and Shadow, providing the reassuring presence they had come to rely on. The bond between the three of them had grown stronger with each passing day, creating a foundation of trust that made these breakthroughs possible. Suddenly, the monitors lit up with new activity. "We're detecting response signals," Dr. Thompson reported excitedly. "The wolf pack. They're actually responding to Snow's network. The connection is stable and growing stronger." Through the observation equipment, they could see the wolf pack moving through the forest with purpose, not toward them, but in a pattern that seemed to mirror the neural frequencies Snow and Shadow were creating. It was as if they were engaged in an intricate dance of minds across the distance. "This is revolutionary," Angela whispered, documenting everything for their research records. "We're not just observing wildlife anymore, we're establishing genuine communication. Think of what this could mean for conservation efforts, for protecting endangered species, for understanding ecosystems." The success of their first trial opened up new possibilities that even Dr. Thompson's team hadn't anticipated. Snow and Shadow had demonstrated that their abilities could bridge not just the gap between technology and nature, but between different species entirely. As the morning progressed, more data poured in from their monitoring stations. The Wolfpack's behavior showed clear signs of conscious interaction with Snow's network, but always maintaining their natural patterns and territories. It was exactly the kind of non-invasive communication they had hoped to achieve. "We're already receiving requests from conservation groups worldwide," Dr. Thompson mentioned, reviewing messages on her tablet. "Everyone wants to know if this technology could help with their endangered species programs, but we need to proceed carefully, ethically, and always let the animals guide the process." Emily knelt beside Snow and Shadow, who had completed their first successful long-distance communication. Both dogs seemed tired but satisfied, their natural abilities having accomplished something that all of Northway's invasive technology had failed to achieve. "This is just the beginning," Dr. Morrison said, already analyzing the data from their trial. "Snow and Shadow have shown us that the future of conservation technology isn't about control or manipulation. It's about creating bridges of understanding between species. They're not just communicating, they're teaching us how to listen to the natural world in entirely new ways." 2 months after the successful Wolfpack trial, the Interspecies Communication Center had transformed into a hub of global conservation innovation. Snow's other puppies, now settled in their carefully selected homes, had begun contributing to a growing network of animal technology partnerships across the country. "The results are beyond anything we could have imagined," Dr. Thompson said during their morning briefing. She gestured to a wall of monitors, displaying real-time data from various conservation projects. "Each puppy has developed its own unique way of extending the network, but they all stay connected through Snow's original framework." Emily sat at her desk, Shadow dozing contentedly at her feet, while Snow observed the morning's activities from her favorite spot by the window. The white dog's role had evolved from test subject to teacher, helping her puppies develop their abilities while working with the research team to refine their understanding of interspecies communication. "We've received confirmation from the Antarctic Research Station," Dr. Morrison announced, bringing up new data on the main screen. "Luna, one of Snow's white puppies, has successfully established contact with a pod of whales near their observation point. The marine biologists are reporting unprecedented insights into whale social behavior." The success stories kept flowing in. Another puppy, working with a rainforest conservation team in South America, had helped create an early warning system for protecting endangered species from environmental threats. A third had revolutionized wildlife rehabilitation techniques by facilitating better understanding of injured animals' needs. "Snow," Emily called softly, noticing the white dog's sudden attention to one of the data streams. Moving closer to the display, Emily saw it was showing information from the wolf pack they'd first contacted. The pack's territory had expanded, but more importantly, their population was thriving under the protective awareness provided by Snow's network. Sarah, who had joined the center's technical team full-time, rushed in with exciting news. "The satellite imaging team just picked up something incredible," she said, pulling up new footage. "The communication patterns we learned from Snow and Shadow. They're appearing naturally in other animal populations. It's like they're teaching other species how to establish their own networks." Dr. Thompson studied the new data with intense interest. "This is exactly what we hoped for," she said. "We're not just creating a human-managed communication system. We're helping to restore and enhance the natural connections that already exist between species." The facility had grown to accommodate their expanding research, but maintained its commitment to ethical practices and animal welfare. Every new development was carefully evaluated to ensure it served the interests of both the animals and conservation efforts. "Emily," Dr. Morrison called from her research station. Take a look at these latest scans of Shadow's neural patterns. The displays showed increasingly complex communication structures, far more sophisticated than their early readings. He's not just following Snow's teaching anymore, he's innovating, creating new ways to bridge the gap between species. Shadow stirred at the sound of his name, padding over to join Snow by the window. Mother and son often work together now, their combined abilities creating possibilities that continued to surprise even the most experienced researchers on the team. Angela, who had been coordinating with international wildlife organizations, shared some remarkable statistics. The success rate of wildlife rehabilitation programs using our communication methods has increased by over 200%, she reported. And the best part? The animals are choosing to maintain these connections even after returning to the wild. Dr. Thompson gathered the team for an afternoon demonstration of their latest project. Snow and Shadow had been working with them to develop a non-invasive way of monitoring ecosystem health through the natural communication networks of local wildlife. "Watch this," Dr. Thompson said, activating a new holographic display. The room filled with a stunning visualization of interconnected neural patterns, a living map of animal communications spanning the surrounding forest. At the center, Snow and Shadow's unique signatures pulsed steadily, maintaining the delicate balance of information flow. Emily marveled at how far they'd come from that cold night at Hopeful Tale Shelter. What had started as a mystery surrounding an abandoned dog had blossomed into a revolution in conservation technology. Snow's choice to trust them, to share her extraordinary gifts, had opened doors they never knew existed. 6 months into the program, the Interspecies Communication Center had become a model for ethical technological advancement worldwide. The morning sun streamed through the facility's large windows as Emily reviewed the latest reports from their global partners, each page filled with remarkable breakthroughs and heartening successes. The Australian team just sent in their first comprehensive data set, Dr. Morrison announced during the morning briefing. Crystal, one of Snow's white puppies, has helped them establish communication with a group of marsupials in a protected sanctuary. The insights they're gaining about nocturnal wildlife behavior are unprecedented. Snow lay near Emily's desk, her bright eyes focused on the holographic display, showing the ever-expanding network of animal communications. Shadow, now growing into his role as a bridge between species, worked with a group of visiting scientists to refine their understanding of the subtle frequencies used in wildlife interactions. "We've received a fascinating proposal from the Marine Research Institute," Dr. Thompson said, bringing up a new presentation. "They've observed that the whales Luna communicated with are now showing signs of expanded communication ranges. They're reaching out to pods hundreds of miles away, sharing information about ocean conditions and safe migration routes." The facility's research had evolved far beyond their initial goals. What started as a project to understand Snow's unique abilities had transformed into a global initiative for wildlife protection and environmental harmony. Each day brought new discoveries about the intricate ways animals naturally shared information and supported their ecosystems. "Emily," Sarah called from her monitoring station, "you need to see this." The technical displays showed an extraordinary pattern emerging from their global data collection. The natural communication networks we're observing, they're not just carrying information about immediate survival needs. There's evidence of complex cultural exchange between animal groups, sharing knowledge about environmental changes and adaptation strategies. Dr. Morrison hurried over to examine the data, her excitement evident. This explains so much about how animals adapt to environmental challenges. They're not just reacting to changes, they're actively sharing solutions across species and territories. Snow and her puppies haven't created something new, they've helped us tap into an ancient system of natural intelligence. The afternoon brought a visit from international conservation experts, eager to learn from their success. Emily led the tour of the facility, with Snow and Shadow demonstrating their abilities to an amazed audience. The dogs worked together seamlessly, showing how technology could enhance rather than interfere with natural animal behaviors. "What impresses me most," one visitor commented, "is how the animals remain completely true to their nature. There's no forced behavior, no artificial conditioning, They're simply sharing their natural abilities with us in ways we can understand and support. In the research wing, Dr. Thompson showcased their latest innovation, a completely non-invasive system for monitoring ecosystem health through existing animal communication networks. The key breakthrough, she explained, was learning to listen rather than transmit. Snow taught us that the natural world already has sophisticated ways of sharing critical information. Our role is simply to understand and protect these networks. Shadow had taken to working with younger animals, brought to the Center for Rehabilitation, showing an intuitive ability to help them tap into their natural communication abilities. Emily watched as he gently guided a young fox, recently rescued from an urban area, in reconnecting with its wild instincts. The implications for wildlife rehabilitation are extraordinary, Angela noted, documenting the interaction. By understanding how animals naturally share information, we can help injured or displaced wildlife reintegrate into their native habitats more successfully than ever before. Late in the afternoon, Emily joined Snow and Shadow in the facility's peaceful garden area. The mother and son often spent time there, seeming to process and integrate the day's activities through their unique neural connection. The monitoring equipment recorded these sessions, showing how they maintained and strengthened the vast communication network they had helped create. "Look at this pattern," Dr. Morrison said softly, showing Emily the latest neural activity readings. "They're not just maintaining the network anymore, they're teaching it to sustain itself. The natural world is learning to bridge the gaps we humans have created in its ancient communication systems." 1 year had passed since Snow first appeared at Hopeful Tale Shelter on that cold winter night. The Interspecies Communication Center had blossomed into a beacon of hope for wildlife conservation worldwide. Emily stood at the observation window, watching Snow and Shadow work with a group of young animals in the training area, their gentle guidance helping each creature discover its own natural connection to the vast communication network. The United Nations Environmental Committee just released their annual report, Dr. Thompson announced during the afternoon meeting. "Our program has been officially recognized as a groundbreaking model for ethical wildlife conservation." They're recommending its implementation in protected areas worldwide. The facility had grown, but maintained its core principles of respect and partnership with the animal world. Snow's other puppies, now adults themselves, continued their important work across the globe, each contributing to an ever-expanding web of understanding between species. "The latest satellite data is remarkable," Sarah reported, pulling up a global visualization. "We can now track the natural communication patterns across entire continents. The networks Snow helped us understand are showing us how animals have always worked together to maintain ecological balance." Dr. Morrison, who had been analyzing long-term data trends, shared her latest findings. "The most significant impact isn't just in conservation," she explained. "We're seeing fundamental changes in how humans interact with wildlife. Understanding these natural communication networks has led to better urban planning, more effective wildlife corridors, and dramatically reduced human-animal conflicts." Emily watched as Shadow demonstrated his remarkable abilities to a group of visiting veterinary students. The black dog had grown into his role as a teacher, showing an intuitive understanding of how to help others access their natural communication abilities. His distinctive dark coat, once seen as an anomaly, now seemed to symbolize the bridge between human technology and natural wisdom. "The success stories keep coming in," Angela said, reviewing reports from their global partners. The whale pods working with Luna have established new feeding grounds in protected waters. The Endangered Species Program in South America reports record breeding success rates. Even urban wildlife is showing signs of more organized adaptation to human environments. Snow padded over to Emily's side, her white fur now slightly silvered with age, but her eyes as bright and intelligent as ever. The bond between them had deepened into something beyond simple handler and animal. They were partners in a revolution of understanding between species. "Look at these readings," Dr. Thompson said, displaying neural activity patterns from their global network. "The natural world is healing itself using the communication pathways we've helped restore. Animals are sharing information about safe migration routes, adapting to climate changes, and finding new ways to thrive despite environmental challenges. The afternoon brought a special celebration as the facility welcomed its newest members, a group of young animals from various species, all showing natural abilities similar to Snow's family. The white dog and her black-furred son worked together to help these newcomers develop their talents, creating the next generation of bridge builders between species. "It's amazing to think how far we've come," Dr. Morrison reflected, watching the interaction. What started as a mystery with a single dog has grown into a global movement for environmental harmony. Snow didn't just show us a new way to use technology. She helped us rediscover an ancient system of natural cooperation. The facility's research had expanded beyond simple communication studies. They were now documenting complex cultural exchanges between animal groups, mapping vast networks of natural intelligence, and developing new ways to protect and support these vital connections. "The most beautiful part," Emily observed, watching Snow guide a young wolf in establishing its first conscious connection to the network, is that we're not creating anything artificial. We're simply learning to see, understand and protect what nature has always known. Shadow joined them at the window, his presence a living testament to the unexpected journey that had brought them all together. The implant that once threatened his health was long gone, replaced by an understanding of his own natural abilities that far surpassed any artificial enhancement. On a crisp winter evening, remarkably similar to the night when Snow first appeared at Hopeful Tales shelter, Emily stood in the observation room of the Interspecies Communication Center. The facility had become more than a research center. It was a living testament to the possibility of harmony between technology and nature. "The final reports from the Global Implementation Program are in," Dr. Thompson announced, her voice warm with pride. "Every continent now has at least one active communication hub, and the natural networks are growing stronger each day. Snow's legacy has truly transformed our understanding of the natural world." Snow and Shadow sat together near the window, their poses mirror images of alertness and serenity. The mother and son team had become legendary in the field of wildlife conservation, their story inspiring a new generation of researchers and animal welfare advocates. "We've received an interesting proposal," Dr. Morrison shared, bringing up a holographic display. "The original Hopeful Tales shelter wants to establish a specialized wing for identifying and nurturing animals with natural communication abilities. They want to name it after Snow." Emily smiled, remembering that cold night that had changed everything. The simple shelter where she had once worked had already evolved into a model facility, incorporating the gentle, non-invasive communication techniques they had learned from Snow and her family. Sarah, now heading the technical division, presented their latest innovation. "We've perfected the non-invasive monitoring system," she explained. "Using the principles we learned from Snow's natural abilities, we can now track and support wildlife communication networks without any technological interference." The afternoon brought a special reunion as Snow's other puppies returned to the center for a global coordination session. Each had developed their own unique approach to bridging the gap between species, but together they created something extraordinary, a harmonious blend of individual talents strengthening the whole. "Watch this," Dr. Thompson said softly, activating the neural pattern display. The room filled with a spectacular light show of interconnected communications spanning the globe. At the center of it all, Snow and her family's signatures pulsed steadily, their natural abilities now helping to maintain the delicate balance of global wildlife networks. Angela, reviewing data from their international partners, shared some remarkable statistics. Wildlife populations in protected areas have increased by 40% since the implementation of our communication networks. Human-animal conflicts have decreased by 60%, and we're seeing unprecedented cooperation between different species in adapting to environmental changes. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the facility's grounds, Emily reflected on the journey that had brought them here. What had begun as a mysterious arrival at a small shelter had blossomed into a worldwide revolution in how humans understood and protected the natural world. Snow approached Emily, her white fur glowing in the evening light, while Shadow played gently with some of the younger animals in their care. The bond between them had grown into something beyond explanation, a partnership that represented the very best of what could happen when humans learned to listen to the wisdom of the natural world. "We've come full circle," Dr. Morrison observed, watching Snow guide a newly arrived puppy in its first attempts at accessing the communication network. But instead of ending where we began, we've spiraled upward, taking everything we've learned to create something better than we ever imagined. The facility's lights dimmed automatically, adjusting to the natural rhythms they had learned to respect. Outside, the vast network of animal communications continued its eternal dance, stronger and more resilient than ever, thanks to the trust one special dog had placed in humanity's capacity to learn and grow. As night fell, Snow and Shadow joined Emily for their evening routine, their presence a constant reminder that the greatest technological advances often come not from imposing our will on nature, but from learning to work in harmony with the incredible systems that already exist. The story that began with a mysterious white dog and her special black puppy had transformed into a global movement for understanding and protecting the natural world. Snow's choice to trust, to share her gifts, and to help bridge the gap between technology and nature had created a legacy that would continue to grow and evolve, touching lives both human and animal for generations to come. Dear listeners, we hope Snow's extraordinary journey has touched your hearts and opened your minds to the incredible possibilities that exist when we learn to listen to the natural world. To continue exploring these amazing stories of harmony between technology and nature, we've prepared a special playlist featuring equally inspiring tales. You'll find it by clicking the link to your left. If you've enjoyed this story, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up. Every day, we bring you unique stories that explore the amazing connections between humans and animals. Join us in the comments section below to share your thoughts on Snow's remarkable legacy, and stay tuned for our next adventure. We can't wait to read your reactions.